Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to our UK cybersecurity seminar called UK Bound, Exploring Business Opportunities for Singapore Cybersecurity Companies in the UK, organized by SG Tech in collaboration with the Cyber SG TIG Collaboration Center as well. And thank you for allowing us to let your use your center as our hosting ground for this particular seminar. My name is Raj. I will be your MC for this particular seminar. Before I begin, may I just request everyone to just make sure your mobile devices are switched off to the silent mode. And more importantly, please engage actively and ask questions along the way. You can actually raise your hands and we have a device here that will capture your wonderful voice. So just make sure you can speak a bit louder so our participants can hear it as well. We have an exciting agenda lined up for you this afternoon, filled with expert insights and engaging discussions. So without further ado, we'll just dive deep into this program. To kick off our program, I'd like to invite now Ms. Jill Broom, Head of Program Cyber Resilience at Tech UK, to share her insights on the UK cybersecurity landscape. Let me just give you a quick introduction about her as well. She leads the Tech UK cybersecurity program, having originally joined Tech UK in October 2020 as a program manager for the cyber and central government programs. She's responsible for managing Tech UK's work across the cybersecurity ecosystem, bringing industry together with key stakeholders across the private and public sectors. Jill also provides the industry secretariat for the Cyber Growth Partnership, the industry and government conduit for supporting the growth of the sector. And a key focus of her work is to strengthen the public-private partnership across cyber to support further development of UK cybersecurity and resilience policy. So without further ado, Jill, please.
Good evening, everybody. I am just going to share my slides, so bear with me 2 seconds. I just check that you can see them all.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to put them on slideshow. Hold on a second. There we go. Can you see them okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry. So hi everybody. Today I am just going to give you a quick overview of the cybersecurity landscape in the UK, including some of the drivers and opportunities. This presentation isn't going to cover everything, as I know that colleagues in the panel will touch on other aspects, and I'm going to be skipping over some of these slides quite quickly today, but the SG Tech team will be able to share a copy of these with you afterwards so you can see some more of the detail. Just to give you a quick overview, Tech UK is the trade association for the UK's tech industry, so our SG Tech, and we're pleased to represent actually now over 1,000 members, including SMEs and multinationals. So we've got firms from every nation and region in the UK with a breadth of interest from AI to quantum, digital transformation and telecoms. The cyber programme is just one of 21 programmes at Tech UK, and these include those that work on specific vertical public and private sector markets, tech and innovation and tech policy. Around 250 to 300 of our members are engaged in the cyber programme, and that ranges from systems integrators to pure cyber companies and a variety of innovative SMEs. And broadly, our work involves providing the cyber industry with market engagement opportunities, advocating for members when government's looking to develop cyber policy, and engaging in activity that supports the ecosystem development. So it probably makes sense to begin by talking really about some of the key demand drivers for cybersecurity. The first one is, of course, the ever-evolving threat landscape, which right now is very much shaped by geopolitical insecurity and the unprecedented acceleration of emerging technology, or the use of it, AI, of course, being a key example. In the last 18 months, the UK's hospitals, local authorities, government departments, etc., have all been targeted in cyber attacks, and the impacts can be quite severe. Furthermore, the latest UK government annual cybersecurity breaches survey reported that half of all businesses and approximately a third of charities in the UK reported identifying breaches or attacks over the last 12 months. And this is an increase in figures from the previous year. The same report found that senior leaders in business do view cybersecurity as a high priority. While some smaller organisations and charities said they had to cut back on their cyber spend due to decreasing budgets, the report found that despite economic conditions, many organisations have continued to invest either the same amount or more in cybersecurity over the last 12 months. Businesses can certainly do more to increase their cyber resilience, and the opportunity exists to support them. The UK Government Annual Cyber Security Sectoral Analysis Report provides us with a good indicator of the state of the UK's cybersecurity industry, including figures on size. At the moment, we've got 2,091 active cyber practices. There are 60,689 FTEs working in the sector, and the revenue is estimated to be about £11.9 billion, which is up 13% from last year's study. On the right of this slide, you can see that the number of registered cybersecurity firms by offering, and furthermore, the report estimates cybersecurity's related gross value add has reached £6.5 million, which is an increase of 4% on last year. The next couple of slides provide an outline of the sort of types of products and services being offered. And first, here's a look at some of the startups, scale-ups and unicorns, and the products and services being offered by larger companies, as well as cybersecurity startups. Furthermore, you might be wondering about where in the UK you might set up a business. Well, over 50% of cyber companies are actually based outside of London and the South East, with strong pockets of cyber activity elsewhere, including in the Northwest, West Midlands, Scotland and Northern Ireland. So the UK has a thriving public cyber sector, but there is plenty of scope and opportunity, not least within the public sector. So public sector procurement plays a really kind of crucial role in the health of the cybersecurity sector and for improving public sector engagement with innovative cybersecurity startups and techniques. This includes where cyber firms can sell products, services and solutions to public sector buyers such as local and central government, law enforcement and policing and the health sector, etc. Companies such as Stottles and Tussle provide essential insights into what government and broader public sector is buying. And government's latest cyber sectoral analysis report used Tussle data, which you can see here, to identify cybersecurity related contract notices. In 2022, there was about 850 contracts awarded to UK cybersecurity businesses to the value of £783 million. The provisional procurement data for 2023 suggests that public sector demand for cyber services and products has remained strong, with 774 contracts awarded to the value of £592 million. On this slide, we can see that the number of contracting authorities, for example, local government organisations or NHS trusts that are awarding cybersecurity contracts has doubled since 2018, and there is still plenty of room for growth. Here we have the top government buyers of awarded cyber contracts, with the Ministry of Defence coming out top on volume of awarded contracts. The three main areas for cyber GovTech tend to be cyber professional services, threat intelligence monitoring and detection analysis, and endpoint security. So who are the cyber suppliers selling into the UK government? Well, on the left here, you have large prime suppliers who capture almost 50% of the total value of the market, while resellers on the right held 30% of the volume. So data is definitely available on the competition. But of course, these might also be the prime suppliers and resellers that you want to target for partnerships. Indeed, to sell directly to government, you do need to be on certain procurement frameworks, so partnerships will likely be valuable in the first instance. Opportunities, of course, could also exist within the UK's critical national infrastructure sectors, such as water, energy and communications, especially as the previous government set targets to improve the cyber resilience of the UK's critical national infrastructure by 2025. And it's also worth in this area thinking about what differentiates you. One hot topic at the moment is operational technology, or OT security, and how the landscape of critical national infrastructure is being complicated by the introduction of connected tech devices into the OT environment. Out with what's classed as what's classed as critical national infrastructure. Other sectors where there are opportunities for cybersecurity companies include the UK's manufacturing industry. We are currently the 12th largest manufacturing nation in the world, and this sector contributed to 217 billion in output to the UK economy in 2023. Of course, organised cybercrime gangs are now actively targeting operational technology heavy industry like manufacturing with ransomware, because due to the huge financial impact of ceased operations, the ransom might be more likely to be paid. So we're seeing a push just now to further secure this technology, and there is a demand for expertise and skill around the OT and IT convergence piece. I just really wanted to wrap up then with a few points on the cyber kind of policy and regulation in the UK, and mention a couple of key organisations in the ecosystem here. From a strategic perspective, the UK has the National Cyber Strategy 2022, which has 5 key strategic pillars encompassing all government interventions and support for the sector. So that's both in terms of national security priorities and economic prosperity, and in nurturing the cyber ecosystem. Then we have the Government Security Strategy, which builds on the National Cyber Strategy and aims to ensure that core government functions and CNI are more resilient to cyber attack. We're waiting to see what the new government will do with these strategies, but expect that the core aspects will probably remain the same. In terms of regulation at a working level to be aware of, the UK has the Network and Information Systems, or NIS, regulations. These came into force in May 2018 and provide legal measures to boost the overall level of security of network and information systems that are critical for the provision of digital services and essential services. These regulations have had a positive impact, but progress hasn't really been fast enough, and government intends to update these regulations to improve cyber resilience, and those kind of updates are going to be included in a new cybersecurity bill, which is expected to go to Parliament in the spring. I've also added in here a couple of other recent focus areas for government, including the Product Security and Telecommunications Infrastructure Act, which outlines requirements for consumer IoT devices in the UK. We've also had a focus on app security, and the government recently consulted on codes of practice for software vendors and the cybersecurity of AI, which seek to set out security principles for suppliers to follow when it comes to designing, deploying, and maintaining their technology. There's a big drive for secure by design across the whole of the tech industry at the moment. In terms of key organisations and initiatives in the ecosystem, the UK's technical authority for cyber is the National Cyber Security Centre. It provides guidance, instant response, and support on a whole variety of things, as well as running various schemes where it assures suppliers offering certain products and services. We have the UK Cybersecurity Council, which is a self-regulatory body for the UK cyber profession. It develops, promotes, and steers nationally recognised standards of expertise and excellence, and professional conduct, practice, etc. For the cyber profession. And part of its role is to develop clearer pathways into the profession to kind of help address the skills gap. Cyber clusters across the UK play a vital role in supporting growth of the sector and are uniquely positioned with a regional focus and presence, building communities on the ground. The UK Cyber Security Cluster Collaboration, that's a bit of a mouthful, the UKC3, works with those regional clusters to support their work through funding and enabling opportunities for networking and ultimately supporting the sort of regional and then national growth of the sector. The UK has a very strong public-private partnership, which you may have heard of when it comes to cyber. At strategic level, we have the National Cyber Advisory Board, which the Tech UK sits on. This brings together senior leaders from the private and third sectors to challenge, support, and inform the government's approach to cyber. We also have the Cyber Growth Partnership, CGP, which is the government industry conduit for growing the cyber sector and recognising its critical contribution to economic growth. Within this forum, we currently have 4 working groups looking at key topic areas such as scaling cyber skills initiatives, tackling barriers to innovation and investment for SMEs, helping suppliers to better navigate regulation, and cementing partnerships between industry and higher education institutions. Finally, I just wanted to point to this useful tool for you to explore. This is the Cyber Exchange, and it's an online resource that maps the UK cyber sector and gives companies a bit of a platform to raise their profile within the community. So I appreciate this has been a really quick trot through and broad look at the UK cybersecurity landscape, but I hope that some of this information is useful to you and provide you with a good start in your discussion today. When the slides are shared, you'll find some useful links as well, such as to the cyber sectoral analysis report. And you can reach out to me anytime at my email address, which is on the screen there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jill, for your comprehensive overview of the UK cybersecurity landscape. So as you would have heard, there are multiple opportunities both in the public and private sectors. And what best way to engage with this particular market than to understand the go-to market strategies, and more importantly, who is going to make this journey for you as fruitful and comprehensive as possible. And with that, it gives me great honor to be able to introduce our next speaker for this particular seminar. We have Colin Klein. Yes.
Thank you everybody for attending, and I'm hoping that I can deliver a lot of value to everyone in the audience tonight, as well as to show you the value of coming along in the street. One thing that I'll say is, unlike my counterpart Jill, I don't come prepared with pretty graphs and charts, but I'm hoping that I can make up for it by doing the most Singaporean thing ever and get to the point one. I want to cover up how you can make money going into the UK. Now, I am going to make somewhat of an assumption. Whenever a company is looking at going internationally, it falls into typically one of two types. One, you've raised $100 million. Your investors have signed off on deploying $20 million towards going to that market, and you're prepared to go hire a large team and prepared to go forward. The assumption that I'm going to make is that most people here are not in that category. That before deploying resources to the UK, before deploying resources to any market, you want to get the commercial traction. You want to find out that this is actually going to be profitable. You want to make sure that you're actually going to make money. So what I'm going to focus on is how you can make money fast and do it in the most leanest and capital efficient way. That's our Singaporean way. Desired outcomes. I think you're loaded up. I can present it in other slides. Okay. So, desired outcomes. What I want everybody to get out of this trip is one of 4 outcomes. I want you to either land a customer, I want you to land a partner, I want you to land an on-the-ground advisor who's going to be based there in the UK, who's been there and done that before, who's got a vested interest in helping the company. And the 4th one, to land an investor. I want you to land a significant commercial opportunity that's going to prove to you and validate to you the market that's going to be the impetus for further growth and scale. So whilst they're sorting that out, to give you a little bit of background, I am the founder of Scalar, and my business partner is based in the UK. We're technically a Singaporean-British dynamic duo. There's 15 people in the business. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been able to scale my company into 6 markets, including San Francisco, including London, including obviously me coming to Singapore, and I've done everything bootstrapped. So when I talk about go-to-market strategies, it's first of all what I've learned from all the businesses that I've worked with, and I've worked with 170 tech companies, 45 unicorns, and about 40 of them have been cyber companies. I'm an LP in 3 funds, 2 of which invest in cyber companies. And I'm also a partner to about 10 funds from right across the world that invest in cyber companies, including Bloomberg Capital, including Teammate Ventures, as well as my biggest achievement, which is Dell Capital Technologies. I've actually met Michael Dell before. They've invested in some of the most iconic cyber companies that I can name that have gone on to achieve ridiculous valuations in rapid time. So what I'm going to speak about is from my experience in the businesses that I've worked with and how I've done it myself in how to make money. Beyond that, on our advisory board, we've got the CRO from a tech company called Deal. He's taken the company from minimal to a $40 billion valuation. So we've learned from many of the masters and how to be able to do it. So everything that I'm going to speak about, it's something that we've actually done ourselves. So in terms of cyber clients, Tufin, AlgoSec, Clarity, Matific, CyberArk, Checkpoint, and I can keep on going and going, but as a business collectively, it's been about 60. Myself personally, it's been somewhere between the 30 to 40 mark. Now, the important parts, the UK market. My business partner is British, and even having someone who's British moving over there, it's an extremely difficult market to crack. One of the things that we were surprised about is just how fragmented the UK actually is. It's very different to anything that I'm used to in Australia or in Singapore, because London can basically be its own country. London is very different to the Midlands, which is very different to Northern England, which in Scotland, that's a completely different language that most of us don't even understand. London has the similarities to Singapore in that it's the financial and the commercial hub of EMEA, like this is the financial and commercial hub of APAC. The challenge with London, to crack the market, it's reliant upon networks. So a lot of people which have gone to the right schools or networked in with the right communities, but it's also reliant upon collaboration. And the collaboration angle is the one that I want to touch on in what we've been able to do, what we've seen our clients do. That's been able to open up the market for them. So we are this one here. So what we were surprised about, the APAC brand, it doesn't actually carry a lot of weight in the UK. In the UK, when their companies raise and they go global, they go to North America. When North American companies raise and go global, they'll go to the UK first. The Singapore brand, the Australia brand, even having some of my business partner being originally from England, it doesn't carry the same gravitas that we have to work significantly harder and need to be a lot more strategic in how we do deal making. There's also the difference in the selling style, where some of the similarities is that, like in Singapore, there's a value upon education and credentials. Exactly the same thing in the UK. The one change, the one which I really want to explore is in the UK, it's around how we strategically structure the deal and how we can collaborate. Because if you don't have the networks, if you're not exposed to our market, the way that you get deals is how can we actually win together? How can I help this person and how can they help me? How do we find the win-win-win angle? Because guess what? Many of those companies have never actually been to Asia and they want to get to Asia. The same thing that we want to be able to open up the UK market. Why? Because it's one of the biggest consumer markets on the planet. And by cracking it, the valuation of any company from this part of the world is going to go up significantly. So we need to focus on what the win-win outcome is going to be. People there buy on collaboration and reciprocity. And that's something that I also want to be able to teach. So what won't work, and this has been our finding as well, we're not going to fly in, meet Lloyd's Bank and do a deal. There's Bob Hope and there's no hope in hell. It's just not how it works. Landing a deal with government, financial services, they want someone which is there within arm's length. The same thing with the value-added resellers or distributors. As I said, people sell on collaboration. What's in it for me? Are you going to send deals my way? If we know and understand that, then we know how to tailor what our go-to-market is. So, and the other one, you will need local representation. I'm going to tell you how we can do that without deploying capital or very minimal capital, but you want someone who's got the networks, who's got the contacts, and who actually has the cyber experience. That's how we can do it. So now that I'm done scaring you, let me tell you how to make money. So collaboration, credentials, case studies, evangelization. In the UK, they love to see the case studies. If you've sold to telco, make sure you've got those case studies prepared. If you've sold to government, make sure you've got those case studies prepared, because then it starts to de-risk the buying process for them. Partners. Now, yes, as part of this delegation, I want to introduce people here to systems integrators, distributors, managed services providers. The fastest way to land a deal is if we actually focus on ecosystem partners and technology and alliance partners. What do I mean by that? Jill was previously speaking about some of the cyber associations. That's an ecosystem partner. If you're a part of that association and you're attending the events and you're keynote speaking, you're doing evangelization, now you've started developing a familiarity with the British buying audience. That really helps to shorten the sales cycle. Technology and alliance partners, one of the fastest ways to close a deal. And it's very, very simple. It's all the law of reciprocity. Here's a UK cyber company that's got no customers in Singapore. Here's a Singaporean cyber company that's got no customers in the UK. We sell to the exact same customer base from a 100% complementary angle. If we partner, you can take us into the UK and promote us into the UK. We can help take you into Asia and promote you into Asia. It's a 100% no money down deal, and it's win-win-win. And it's the fastest way to be able to gain commercial traction. So win-win-win, focus on how you're going to be able to help them. You run partner events, you do partner evangelization, and that's how it starts de-risking the buying process and how you start significantly shortening those sales cycles. The last one is leveraging local advisors, which can be go-to-market. Some of you may decide to hire someone in the region. I'll speak about that, but I'm also going to speak about using a strategic advisor or board advisor. I'll touch on that later. What we're going to do is, as a part of this delegation, we're going to introduce you to enterprise. Yes, we know British Telecom. We know Standard Chartered, we know HSBC, we know Barclays. We've got a relationship with all of these companies, and we're going to be trying to get all of them to come in and attend so you can meet them. Governments, my business partner's over there, so I'm sure that he can bring plenty of the government partners along. And it doesn't need to exclusively be London, because to be honest, there's actually a lot of grants that you can receive if you actually look at a market outside London, but that's a story for a different time. And for partners, yes, cyber distributors, NTT Data, I'm friends of the CRO. Baringa Partners, one of the biggest management consultancy companies in the UK that consults on cyber. The good thing is, one of the lead partners there, he owes me a favor, and rest be assured, I'm going to be leveraging that bad boy. So who are you going to meet? The last one that I want to touch on, board advisors. This is something that I absolutely love doing. And I want to introduce you to the people who have actually been the first person on the ground for a cyber unicorn in the UK. As an example, my friend Dan was employee number 1 for CyberArk in the UK. He grew them from absolutely nothing to be making 15% of their global revenues. My friend Simon was the first hire on the ground for Clarity in the UK, eventually became their CRO. He's grown that company and brought in something like $300 million worth of deals. I want to connect you guys to the people who have actually been the VP of EMEA, that started it from absolute scratch, built it to 50 people, closed, let's say, $1 billion worth of deals, that know the formula, that know the playbook, that are going to be invested in partnering with you and helping you. They will tell you exactly how to actually commercialize and scale it. They've got the contacts, and I'm going to structure it in such a way, because this is another one of my favorite type of deals. They're equally as interested in working with companies from Asia, because they know that if they can help you to originate a deal in the UK, the valuation of your business is going to skyrocket. So they're interested in advisory roles. Now, how can we leverage that? Through that sort of relationship, the business they work for can either become your customer, they can become your partner, that person can become your local on-the-ground representative. My favorite one, because they've now got a vested interest, they also can become an angel investor, and they can connect you in with other investors. So my recommended go-to-market, establish local ecosystem partnerships first, so people know who we are and they start getting familiarization with the brand. Number 2, partner-led go-to-market. Focus on the win-win-win. The fastest sales cycle, we focus on the companies that don't have the bandwidth and reach here, because we have something that they badly want. Add local representation. Some of you may decide to hire someone on the ground, and yes, we are a recruitment agency, so shamelessly selling our services. But the other way of doing it, add an advisor. Add an advisor who's already been there and done that and built a $10 million business from scratch. Get the traction, and then you start deploying the capital and scale. And to wrap it up, what you're going to get from this program, we're going to teach you an actionable playbook. Not theory, not stats. I don't need to tell you how many universities there are in the UK, because to be honest, most of you don't care. You want to know how you can make money, we want to show you exactly how you can make money. So we are going to give you a customer, a partner, an investor, an advisor, and that's how we're going to help you to scale in the UK.
Thank you very much. So as you can see, the roadmap already is something that we've been exclusively thinking about, even when we keep you in our mind. So be it through the seminar, be it as an extension of our upcoming cybersecurity business mission to the UK that we are planning for, what we want to ensure is you feel that security in being able to commit program that gives you the kind of ROIs that will propel your company growth, that will propel your own revenue in time to come. And more importantly, allow you to gain access to much more valuable partnerships and networks coming in. So I think without further ado, what I want to do is to move into our panel discussion that we've been anticipating as well. With that, we have our moderator, Mr. Rayson Ng, Program Lead, Cyber Growth at CyberSG TIG Collaboration Center. And joining him on the panel that we have with us today as well is number one, Mr. Saj Haq, Chief Commercial Officer at Plexel, joining us virtually. We have Mr. Matthew Borthwick, co-founder and CEO of Scalar, our Collins partner as well. Mr. Joel Lee, CEO and co-founder of Protos Labs, and Mr. Yao Yi Kai, Regional Director, UK and Nordics at Enterprise Singapore. With that, ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause.
Thank you for joining us today. Just want to check first, Saj, as well as can you hear us clearly? All good?
I can, yeah. Hopefully you can hear me.
Okay, all right. Sorry, quick set. So before we actually start, maybe I would just want everyone to introduce yourself first. I'm starting with myself. I'm the moderator for today. I'm the program lead for this cyber growth under the CyberSG TIG Collaboration Center. So what we do here is actually to help Singapore company to actually internationalize, so as to sell their made in Singapore solutions overseas through exhibition as well as through partnerships. So maybe I will just start off with guy beside me, Joel.
Yeah, so my name is Joel. I'm co-founder and CEO of early stage startup called Protos Labs. Protos Labs is at the intersection of both insurance and cybersecurity. See, marry both insurance together with cybersecurity. And we have solutions to help enterprises and insurers with while also having the ability to sell them cyber insurance directly through one of our licensed insurance entities called Protos Cloud. So Protos Labs itself is a vendor, whereas Protos covers.
Sorry, thank you. Next, I'm just looking at the screen. So, Saj, would you mind to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi guys. Really delighted to be here, and thank you to the speakers before. So I'm Saj, I'm Chief Commercial Officer at a company called Plexel. We're the UK's largest delivery partner of innovation programs in the cybersecurity space. We're a tech and innovation company more broadly, so we do lots of work in terms of running accelerators that help grow startups in the UK, help them internationalize, become global companies, as well as helping end users experiment, identify, adopt emerging tech as well. And as I mentioned, the majority of our experience actually and a deep heritage of our work over the last 6 years has been in cybersecurity. We've supported more than 500 cybersecurity startups through various different programs since 2018. And a lot of my background has been both leading the team that now delivers a lot of these initiatives and enables our global ecosystem, as well as I've been the director of one of our biggest innovation programs in the past. So I've got a lot of personal history in working with cybersecurity startups and happy to share our insights and learnings from that through this discussion.
Right. Matthew, yeah, thanks. You want to introduce?
Hi, my name's, can you hear me okay? My name's Matthew Borthwick. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Scalar along with Colin. And as Colin pointed out in his talk, I'm based in the UK, handling businesses who are entering the UK or growing from the UK to other markets. So, yin to his yang, let's say.
Thank you, Matthew. Last but not least, of course, Yi Kai from Enterprise Singapore, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Yi Kai. So I'm the Regional Director for the UK and Nordics. I'm based out of Enterprise Singapore's overseas office in London. So Enterprise Singapore, as many of you are aware, we are the government agency that champions enterprise development. In Singapore, we also help companies that want to scale overseas enter the market. So, but in particular for myself, I'll be looking at helping companies on business partnerships as well as co-innovative projects in the UK and the Nordics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kai. So thanks everyone for joining us from the UK side as well. So before actually we start with the discussion panel, just a show of hands from the audiences here who have actually penetrated or has a market presence in the UK market now. Well, I see that there's not a lot, but of course today we are going to actually share more information on how to actually penetrate the UK market as well as the opportunities and challenges. So beside me, we'll just start off with Joel first. So as further steps, you have participated in the DOTS that program and try to actually establish your presence in the UK market. So far, what unique challenges have you actually encountered and how have you been addressing them?
Okay, yeah. So maybe just to share some context around the Lloyd's, right? So some of you may not be familiar. So the Lloyd's of London is the world's largest insurance marketplace where the word insurance and underwriting came from, actually. So we had the privilege of being the first Singaporean company in the history to have it. We came in through the front door. We didn't have any connections. We didn't literally went to Voice Asia, whatever. We pitched the syndicates or what they call the insurance companies within the Lloyd's marketplace, where they clap you on stage or they clap you off stage, right? Depending on whether they like you. So that was obviously a great accolade for the Singapore brand, founding that we are Singapore scientific company. I think a couple of challenges were quite salient for us when we tried to, obviously get into an insurance giant now. They're not an ordinary enterprise, right? I mean, when they're numbers of millions of pounds. First thing is, I think very similar to what Colin mentioned. I don't think the Singapore brand carries a lot of weight there. I think they do recognize that who Singapore is. I mean, if you go to the US, they'll say, China. They don't know where it's from, but if you go to the UK, they know, right? Because of like you and what have you. So they associate the brand like Singapore with efficiency, reliability, and stuff like that. But if you say that you go there and get cutting edge cybersecurity technology in the region, yeah. So that's the first challenge. I think kind of like you're not going to a very immature market and you're telling them about how to do cybersecurity better. They are kind of like better than you, right? Or you're equivalent, but at least in their minds or in our minds. I think the second challenge that we face is that if you're trying to do remote go-to-market and flying in and out and ideas like 4 times in 6 months, then it's a bit challenging. And they prefer to work with in-country people that they can talk to, because most of the news happen over here after 4 years, right? They don't actually happen through a Zoom call. They happen like the meeting news. So I think there's that relational aspect that we see that some of the people that were mentoring us with the Lloyd's program, we had 12 people actually some that came from big companies like Aon and what have you. To us, they actually might both hiring a tech salesperson, it's an insurance person. Yeah, so we are in the space of cyber insurance, so that it's marrying both cybersecurity, having domain experts in cybersecurity, also being domain experts in insurance, right? Which we didn't come from, right? So I came from US defense contractor side, where we walk into those places, then it would be, hey, we need insurance to go these guys, right? They will talk right? So how then we build our networks from the ground up, getting first degree, second degree, third degree connections from some of the in-country mentors and partners that we had there. Yeah. So I think that's some ways to try to.
Yeah, so some of the questions, you just mentioned about Singapore brand, right? So you're saying that the Singapore brand does not actually score any incentive in it's okay. So, Itai, probably from your view itself, how do you actually see that the public as well as the private sector looking at the Singapore brand to share the same sentiment as what Joel actually mentioned?
Yeah, thanks, Rayson. I mean, from my perspective, I feel that both the UK public and private sectors, they are very familiar with the Singapore brand. And I think for some of the reasons that Joel has mentioned, I think the public and private sectors in the UK, they have a very strong affinity towards Singapore companies. I think this recognition is a result of the long-standing bilateral and economic relationship that both Singapore and the UK have. On the tech sector, I think it's very well known that the UK is at the forefront of innovation and emerging technologies, and London itself is a global hub. Singapore on its own is also a leading startup hub in Asia, as well as Southeast Asia, and we have a very vibrant and tech and ecosystem. I just want to use we do have bilateral grant calls that we organize between the UK and the US to illustrate what we see as a strong appetite between the UK and Singapore companies to collaborate on innovative projects. To date, we have a total of 4 grant calls, 3 completed and 1 ongoing that just closed yesterday on 28 August. For the 3 calls that were completed, there were close to 150 joint applications And Enterprise Singapore, together with Innovate UK, our counterpart from the UK side, we awarded funding support to some 40 projects. I hear Joel on some of the challenges that he mentioned in terms of and when Singapore companies try to enter the UK market. I think the Singapore brand on its own is very recognized. And like I mentioned earlier, using the example of the bilateral grant call, there's actually very strong interest to work together with Singapore companies. However, I think we recognize that that is just one part of the equation to achieving success. And I think that's why Enterprise Singapore, we have been putting in place some initiatives and programs such as the grant call, or even we have a soft lending program called the Global Innovation Alliance Program, GIA London, which is managed by Rainmaking to help companies to explore UK as a market. However, branding is just one part of the equation to achieving success. The other part is really tapping on the network of local partners as well as in-market consultants to facilitate introductions and connections to potential customers, because you have a strong brand, they are keen to work with us. I mean, UK companies, public sectors, public as well as private sector entities are willing to work with us. But I think the key is that going beyond what they recognize Singapore as being, whether it's efficient, quality, as well as competitive products, how then do we then be connected to some of these potential customers, and then do our sales pitch to get a successful deal. Yep. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So maybe I'll contribute to such. Under the FLEXer program, we have actually incubated one of the Singapore cybersecurity company called Block Armor, right? So actually, how did FLEXer support in to establish presence in the UK?
Yeah, no, thank you, Rayson. Yeah, so we support Block Arbor. They took participation in a program that we run called Cyber Runway. It's a UK government-backed program. Specifically, it's got 3 streams, and they were a participant on a stream called Scale. And typically, that's for companies that are looking to scale, so internationalize, enter the UK market, or grow into global businesses out of the UK market. So typically, these are businesses that have products. They've clearly got some element of product market fit and commercial traction, and they're looking to really hit the next level of their growth. So Block Armor were a participant in our second iteration of that program a couple of years ago. That program has supported over 200 companies in the last 3 years, and effectively what they got, which all participants get, and then what we did specifically for them, are probably 2 angles on this question. So as part of the program, they're part of a 6-month process. Obviously, as most accelerators, it was a lot of kind of immersion into the local landscape in the UK. Lots of support around go-to-market strategies, as well as identifying partners, understanding customer needs, specifically vertical alignment of products as well in the UK, which I'll touch on, come back to shortly. What we specifically did for them is obviously open up our networks to help them. So a good example was Block Armor they've got a building presence in the space sector. It's quite an emerging market, the security of space applications, and they've actually established really good kind of initial proof points, commercial traction in Singapore, and collaborating with defence primes and into the kind of defence and national security space. Clearly, the UK is a good spot for that. We've got a lot of defence primes. UK government is a big consumer of emerging tech in defence as well. So we help them get into certain channels there. We've supported them in terms of engaging with the likes of European Space Agency as well, and kind of more like regional scaled agency partners as well. And also for a lot of those types of bids that they will inevitably have to apply for those types of partners, clearly like a still relatively early stage startup, it's not necessarily going to have the scale or the capacity to service that customer need. So again, coming back to what previous speaker said about finding partners, we've helped them find collaboration partners who could do parts of the problem and collaborate with them on a kind of cohesive solution offer to some of these agencies as well. And that's really like kind of leaning obviously on the ecosystem here in the UK and the networks that we specifically enjoy. Lastly, one of the things we've been helping them with kind of early formative steps is actually their US expansion. So again, I think somebody referenced that, UK geographically is a really good location for lots of things. One is time zone, clearly, it bridges east and west. Second of all, strategically, it's a good hotspot into Europe still, but also the US, and also kind of the, if you start to build a customer team and you start to build your operational teams, clearly like the language barrier, is not really existent, because obviously Singapore has got common language with England and the UK, and the UK has got common language with the US. So there's a lot of kind of transferable kind of cultural aspects as well. We've specifically been helping Blockarm with that expansion as well. So one of the things that we've done for them is introduce them to US government entities, which are potential early customers or early adopters of their technology as well. So hopefully that answers your question, quite comprehensive, but happy to dig into any of those points in a bit more detail if you want as well.
Yeah, all right, thank you very much, Saj. So talking about the Singapore brand itself, kind of ways, there's always one thing that I want to talk about is the East-West bifurcation, actually benefits Singapore branding, as we actually stand on the fence between the East as well as the West. So maybe I'll start off with Matthew. So do you see that, when Singapore is selling their solutions to the UK market, do they actually benefit from this East-West bifurcation? As well as what strategy does Singapore should employ actually effectively positions the product for the users of the market? Can you hear me, Matthew?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that question. Sorry, can you repeat that?
All right, not a problem. So just make sure you can hear me now, right?
It's a bit hit and miss, but yeah, just about.
Okay. Would this be better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yeah. So I just want to ask, Singapore branding itself, you always position yourself as the middle ground, not from the East, not from the West itself. So how do you see Singapore benefit from this branding, as well as what kind of strategy should Singapore adopt into actually penetrating into the UK market?
Okay. As I would say that the Singapore branding in the UK carries a lot less weight than it typically does in the rest of Asia. I think that if you look at it in terms of the major benefit you can have is the examples of working in region leading case studies. So working on large projects with, as Colin pointed out, the likes of telcos and governments at a high level, being able to take those case studies to the UK is the real benefit. I don't think that coming as a pure play Singaporean business and that being the flag that you're flying at the start will carry as much weight as it will do in the fact that you're able to have those case studies at a high level. When we've taken businesses into the UK before, we always really specify that the most important thing when entering the UK market is the quality of the case studies and building that confidence through ecosystem players and being able to really, give people in the region confidence, especially in cybersecurity, to entrust you with their business. I think when we did that for the likes of Forta, Clarity, Auth0, what we were able to do really is generate that trust and that reputation very quickly. And I think that comes from working on large scale projects in your home region before making that leap over, if that makes sense.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Maybe I'll just switch the subject a little bit. So let's talk about the UK cybersecurity trend. So maybe I'll just start off with Saj. So Saj, as a board member of the National Cyber Advisory Board, so you have always discussed and promote the UK interest in the cyberspace. So where do you actually see UK cybersecurity landscape heading in the next 5 years?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, from a national strategy perspective, actually I was speaking to somebody in UK government yesterday. They kindly reminded me actually that there is a lot of purposeful alignment between Singapore's cyber strategy and the UK's. And I think that's quite hopefully a reassuring indicator for Singapore companies that are looking to enter the UK market. From a government to government perspective, there is a lot of alignment around common goals. So those goals being, developing tech and new solutions in emerging tech spaces, which I'll come back to in a sec, but also about driving growth and prosperity, helping to build the ecosystem. So my role on the National Cyber Advisory Board, Jill touched on it in her presentation, but effectively it's a challenge function for the UK government. So they've got a strategy, 5 years in duration. It's in the final year of it, and it's due to be refreshed soon. And effectively, myself and colleagues who are on that board, you've got a lot of kind of multinational companies, big tech companies, as well as other operators. So obviously Tech UK represented, but various different kind of ecosystem players. Effectively, we're there to provide views almost from the ground up and the outside in, to help government shape how they're implementing that strategy and also to hold them to account. Specifically, the role I play is on that ecosystem bit. So how UK government is facilitating collaboration both internally within the UK, so across the whole of the UK and different locations. Today, for example, I'm in Manchester in a big cyber innovation hub that we operate here. That's one example of a key node in that network diagram that needs to be connected into the broader piece. But also internationally as well. Jill touched on the 5 pillars of the cyber strategy. Obviously, ecosystem is the first, but the other, probably most relevant for this audience, are things such as technology, which is pillar 3 of the cyber strategy. It talks about some of the key UK priority areas on tech. There are 5 critical technologies that we've identified as a country that we want to, have a leading position in, so from a securities perspective, but also from a kind of novel technology perspective. Won't surprise anyone, but the likes of AI and quantum are 2 of those 5. And that's where a lot of investment's going at the moment. So the security of AI particularly is something that we as a team are working very closely on. And that's where, there's lots and lots of opportunities for people who are looking at, some of the emerging and novel security threats to AI models, lots of opportunities for them to maybe pick up early customers. That's a small example of government set strategy. There's stuff in there about building partnerships and, creating a platform for people to commercially grow and helping that boost the economy. But specifically within that strategy, there are certain areas where there is kind of onward funding and opportunity. A lot of that, the last point I'll make on that onward opportunity is we've talked a lot about probably government as a customer. Personally, I don't think UK government's a great customer of innovation at the moment, but they're trying to be better. They're trying to create frameworks that security vendors can sell through into government. And for example, there's a specialist cyber security strategy for government. There is also, Jill touched on this, there's a new bill coming around cybersecurity, where effectively the UK government's taking a legislative stance, putting it into law to hold companies to account for how they, enact cybersecurity provisions and invest in security resilience. That is also going to be a key part of that is about hardening UK government systems. So for businesses that are specifically already servicing a government requirement in Singapore, maybe they participated on adjacent programs, Singapore, like Cybercall and those kind of things. There's a lot of kind of transferability of their insights and learnings and propositions, particularly in some of these kind of emerging areas of the cyber sphere, such as AI, security of AI, OT, those kind of things, and things that Singapore is traditionally really good at. Lastly, just from an enterprise perspective, we've got a huge tech economy here in the UK, so £1 trillion tech ecosystem more broadly. Obviously, fintech is obviously held up by the UK as a particular success story. That's a really good opportunity, which I personally don't think a lot of cybersecurity vendors think about. It almost feels like the security ecosystem is sometimes a little bit detached from that broader tech community. And my advice for companies coming into the UK is trying to infiltrate those networks as well, because actually we've now got quite a sizable mid-tier market of technology, of companies that are kind of technology first, so therefore they might be early adopters of novel solutions, or be cloud native organizations, and they sometimes they're kind of overlooked. People always think about the big enterprise clients, which are hard to get to. You have to go through the channel and et cetera, but there's actually this whole middle tier which feels like it's underserved in the UK, and it's growing in terms of its specific needs. So my advice would be to focus on that, and a lot of those are also maybe players in the tech ecosystem as well.
Right, thank you. You have also mentioned just now on the fintech opportunity. So I'll just use this to jump over to Joel. So how do you actually see the UK market that you want to get to do your photos cover insurance?
Okay, yeah. So I think a couple of opportunities are quite strong in the UK. I think firstly, I speak more as a startup operator, right? I think if you talk about maturity of cybersecurity, I think they are higher. So especially for us working with a risk product, I think you don't need to explain to them why you do what you do, Whereas what we find maybe in the South Asia region is like, oh, you're a US company, you're this, you're that, and you have to like Spain because the regulations there are also more mature, so it drives certain behavior, especially when it comes to risk. Right? Risk is not the first thing that you do as a cybersecurity practitioner. You actually do operations first, so you buy tools first. Right? So that's one. So I think when you have conversations there, you find it a lot more refreshing and also a lot easier to sort of like communicate or why you do what you do, what you do. I think the second, in terms of opportunity, obviously the market is big. So I mean, people focus on the UK as Singapore, we think about going to London, they might have people actually get and Manchester as well. And London may not be the best place to, for example, spin up a UK entity just because of cost reasons and stuff like that. So I think the market there is big, even if you're just targeting mid-market companies or even the large corporates, there are obviously there's room for that. The third is I think language. I think that that's something that when we explore expanding to Europe actually, I think we had some seasoned entrepreneurial advisors who told us that actually if you look at Europe, there's only a few countries that you can go to, and those are those that actually understand English, right? German, okay, the rest are like French, Spanish. I mean, you can try, but it's going to be a lot more difficult for you, right? I mean, yeah. So I think it's a realities of the startup operators as we hit the ground. I mean, in many ways that we try to overcome those challenges. I mean, the opportunities are great. I think we try to overcome them in creative ways. So, for example, as we solve them, we tried things like, as I talked about, K-market, really making market access into UK. We've tried also some of my past clients. I used to serve as a chartered bank, so I know some of the people quite senior there. So they helped us to open doors. Thankfully, they moved out of Singapore back to UK, right? So it just and then we also obviously have some UK Singapore sort of co-collaboration programs where a bit like what you mentioned is win-win, right? Because we are co-developing, we're helping each other to enhance your product capabilities without us paying 50%, but yet we can help each other with customers. So I think there are different ways to kind of overcome some of the challenges, but certainly I think UK is faced with quite a lot of opportunities, and I continue to have that view actually.
So maybe I'll jump to Ikai. So there's sharing that London might not be the first Europe market that you should actually go for. So Ikai, do you actually see any other companies actually going for the smaller market other than just the London? What's the advice on this?
Yeah, thanks, Rayson. I think if you are still looking at UK, I think that there are other regions. Really depends on. I'm not just talking about cyber or tech company, but I think it really depends on your product and services that you are selling into the country, because London is just one of the many regions in the whole of UK. So we have highlighted Manchester. There's also Birmingham. Depending on what are some of the services or what are some of the products they are doing, or if you're looking for like IT personnel, sometimes actually if you want to set up a back office in the UK to service your UK customer, Birmingham or Manchester could be cheaper options as well. But if you're looking outside of the UK, I think you can also look at countries. We have office in Frankfurt as well, so they also look at Germany and the other parts of continental Europe. So I would say that do contact me if you want to find out a bit more in terms of what the other opportunities are in other countries outside of the UK. I think we will be able to happy to share more with if there's any interest from companies. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Rayson, do you mind if I give a perspective on that, actually, the location thing in the UK? So I completely agree. Like, there's lots of opportunity. Obviously, a lot of people tend to fixate on London. I love London. I'm born in London, grew up here. Think it's a great city, but also there's lots of other opportunities to be elsewhere in the UK for different reasons. So, and actually, I mentioned about the fact that we are strategically placed in a few locations. So, for Plexor as a business, we operate our ecosystems out of three main nodes: London, Manchester, and Cheltenham. Manchester and Cheltenham, we see those as almost like vectors into a broader set of communities. So the Northwest ecosystem in the UK, which is predominantly quite focused on defence and security. So there's a lot of government clients up here and, public sector organisations. So a lot of startups that we support here in Manchester are focused on how they, collaborating with those types of entities. Obviously, London is very commercially focused. It's also a global market. So it's both a kind of, I guess, a accumulation of a global market in a, global city, which is great, incredible kind of talent base as well. But it's also a gateway market to the rest of the world, which is really good. Coming back to that kind of geographical centre. But maybe the reason for setting up in London is it should be more than just about customers in London. I think it's a strategic location for broader growth of a business. Cheltenham is interesting. So in Cheltenham, you've got GCHQ and the National Cybersecurity Centre. We run a programme for the National Cybersecurity Centre in Cheltenham, and there's a lot of work there in terms of developing a broader kind of commercial industry base alongside government. So at the moment, you've got quite a deep density of cyber talent in Cheltenham and the southwest, so Bristol, stretching down to Bristol, out west to Wales, all kind of coalescing around the big government entity there, which is the UK Cyber Agency. But there is an increasing kind of aggregation of industry as well. So you've, for example, not just the traditional kind of defence primes, but you've got big tech players as well who are investing a lot of infrastructure and compute there, which is potentially quite interesting as well. But these kind of, my advice is definitely like UK's kind offer to say to engage him on that kind of those local dynamics. In the UK, something worth tapping into. My recommendation is definitely engage with Tech UK because they're like connected to all of the local clusters. But we've got this cluster ecosystem where there are local operators who run these kind of incredibly deep networks that are very, very regionally specific. And they're quite useful to infiltrate, maybe not initially as a specific kind of go-to-market opportunity, but from a talent perspective, and also just getting insights around, what does it feel like to be in these locations and what's the relative opportunity to be in there alongside London, I think is useful to kind of go local as well. And, lastly, like Manchester, as a great example, it's incredible, fastest growing tech city in Europe. So it's good. That's why we're here. There's a lot of data science talent specifically, and you've got some of the UK's largest universities based here. So there's a really strong talent pool, but also there's a lot of there's that kind of flywheel effect of people going into like larger organizations initially, where they develop their craft and they go out into the tech ecosystem and they could end up working in startups. And there's a lot of kind of entrepreneurial dynamism here as well. So I'll definitely recommend the point around looking beyond London, but considering how you'd strategically leverage London's unique assets as well in the bigger picture.
All right, thank you, Saj. We are running out of a little bit of time. So maybe I'll just open up the floor. Do you have any questions for our panel today regarding about the expansion to London? There's any questions? If there's no question, probably we'll just hand over back to Raj.
Okay, so I think thank you very much to all of our wonderful panelists who have been able to join us in our seminar today and present on their perspectives and provided us that sort of key expertise within this space. I think more importantly now, I would like to end off our seminar by inviting Mr. Andre Pandian as our final speaker, who's Trade and Investment Manager of Technology from the British High Commission. We will invite him to be our final speaker to share quickly with us about one other wonderful collaboration that is coming up. So, Andre, please.
All right. Thank you, Raj, and thank you, Cyber SG, for inviting me to this briefing session. I'm pleased to note that you have an interest in the UK. So let me just briefly explain about myself and also the department that I'm working. So as I said, my name is Andre. I'm working for DDT, the Department for Business Entry. Our main role is to assist UK companies in identifying commercial opportunities in Singapore. So what we do, we provide market briefings, overview. We also help them to identify commercial opportunities by connecting them with innovation calls, industry challenges, and tenders as well. We, similar to SDTech, we also organize trade missions, which I will talk a bit briefly shortly. For UK companies who would like to explore commercial opportunities in this region. We also introduce UK companies when we want to connect with government partners, system integrators, and the general Singaporean companies here. So even though I mainly assist UK companies, however, if let's say US Singapore companies want to, let's say, a project here, and then you want to partner up with the UK companies, do reach out to me. And if you have identified like a specific UK companies that you would like to work with, I'll be more than happy to provide that connections for you. As you know, October is an interesting month for the cybersecurity industry here. So for us in October, we'll be leading trade missions consisting of 8 UK cyber companies. Maybe let me just share a bit more about the objective of the trade mission. So for us, it's really to connect them with system integrators. We have arranged quite a few site visits for the UK company to pitch to the system integrators during that for this program. Of course, we'll be attending GovWare, although at this point we do not have a UK at GovWare, but our delegates will be going to UK, will be going to the GovWare exhibition and just meet with the larger exhibitors at GovWare. Our delegates will also be interested in getting insight in terms of cybersecurity threats and landscape here in Singapore, which is why we are partnered up with Cyber ST. He is organizing a joint info session here on the 14th of October from 10:45 to 12. So if you would like to engage with the UK companies who will be coming over to Singapore, please reach out to Cyber ST or ST Tech. They will be providing you with the instruction on how to register and also the profile of the UK companies that will be coming in over. And also lastly, I also want to mention about some of the opportunities where I think UK companies and Singapore companies could synergize together. So as you know, Cyberfall for us, for UK companies, they would need to partner up with Singapore companies if they want to participate. So we want to create this trade mission as a kind of like pre-identifying the pre-work before for the next cyber. And also, if you have heard about the UK-Singapore Collaborative R&D, which is a joint R&D fund between Innovate UK and Enterprise Singapore. Okay, to participate in this collaborative R&D, you will need UK and Singaporean companies to work together in a project to get the funding respectively. And just a brief overview in terms of the delegates that we will be bringing. So we have Athena Technologies, Darkris. You might have known Darkris because they are based here. Device Authority and Glasswall. Again, you can find out more about their profile, Cyber ST or ST Tech. And the last one is Interseed, Lupotis, Materian, and PGI, Protection Group International. So these are the 8 UK companies that will be coming in offer during Singapore International Cyber Week. So we'll be looking forward to connect with you with these 8 UK companies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andre. Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. So once again, thank you very much to all of our speakers, all of our presenters who've been able to join our seminars today. More importantly, thank you to our audience as well for continuing to engage with us. We also want to just extend our gratitude to Cyber SG, TIG Collaboration Center, as well as our partners Scalar, Enterprise Singapore, Tech UK, and Plexel for the support in making this particular event possible. And something that I was actually discussing with some of our companies who have joined us today is that we wanted to offer you something beyond this particular business mission. And one of the things that we really wanted to offer you exclusively is a confirm plus job, a confirmation that you will get to meet with Tech UK and Plexel. And what I mean by meeting is not just to say hello, but more importantly, a proper roundtable discussion with top cybersecurity companies, investors, and individuals who will make an impact on your particular business trajectory and growth. This is something that we can confirm off the bat, and we've been working closely to be able to value add to you continuously. Of course, other things that we are giving you value is like how we have Colin Klein here from Scalar as well. So we are going to take care of our companies together and create a very powerful coalition force as we go towards UK and tackle that particular market for our companies as well. And more importantly, we hope this session has been very valuable for you and that you have gained significant takeaways. Please feel free to reach out to us, through the networking session that's just happening later. Feel free to just come up to us, ask your questions and so. And for engagements to actually continue value adding to you, what we do request is for you to be able to submit your feedback later. But more importantly, quick information about this. This is what we are gearing up for, our cybersecurity business mission to the UK. All of you are strongly encouraged to join us as we tackle the UK market. And more importantly, like some things that we have covered, it's about you to number one, connect and learn from the industry leaders, key personnel and stakeholders and experts within this particular region. Number two is, of course, our business matching. So you have a group meeting that's happening with some of these wonderful entities, some of these big players like Tech UK and Flexel, but more importantly, also one-to-one meetings for you to be able to engage a company directly and find your synergy. And of course, we have our scaler as well to be able to guide you in this process. And of course, for you to expand your solutions there. We also have at least 5 qualified business leads for your business needs as well. Then, of course, these are our upcoming cybersecurity business missions. So not just saying hi, hello, sayonara at UK, we are also going to Thailand and RSA conference. This is, in fact, the world's premier global cybersecurity event that we are actually bringing a business mission delegate, our delegation to. So all of you are strongly encouraged to join us as well. Anyone needs more time? Anyone wants to take photo? Okay, I'll just quickly proceed. Then, of course, this is our feedback form. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow us to understand better how to continue value adding to you as you join our cybersecurity seminars or webinars. So please just take the time to quickly scan this QR code. And of course, at the same time, also indicate your interest to be joining the DVT Innovate UK Delegates Networking Session. Thank you. So while you are doing this, once you have submitted your feedback, then we will have the group photo. Now it's up. Okay. So my apologies. What I can do now is maybe we'll just take a quick pause on the feedback form, and in the interest of time for our panelists who are already here, let's just gather at the front here together with the panelists at the side, and then we will take a quick group photo together. Okay, so for our panelists, hi panelists, may I please invite all of you to just switch on your video cameras and join us in our group photo. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, for all our companies, please join us. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, everyone gather nice and cozy.
Crispy. Okay. All right. Can
Yeah, feel it nice and good.
All right. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 again. Yes, smile. 1, 2, 3. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep smiling.
Yeah. Again. 1, 2, 3. Come.
Joel, come there.
More inside. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, nice. Okay, thumbs up. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so everyone, you can take your refreshments as well. But more importantly, please do fill in the feedback form. Yeah. Yeah, feedback form was earlier. Just make one. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we end our event proper, please do continue to follow us and stay updated through our social media pages. You can scan the QR code on the screen that you can see right now. And please also follow our page Cyber SGPIG for every percent. That's all. So you guys are SB Tech. Yes. All right. Yeah.